It's okay that
when
he's
you're in a
mad.
bad mood,
Right.
I want you to do this.
That's the
or
same
you
thing.
just did this and you were in a bad mood. So maybe it's you're frustrated with her and you're letting her know by doing
Right.
Yeah.
okay? You could just say, when you're frustrated with her, I'd like you to ask for help. I mean, maybe that's it. I don't know that we'll have a consequence on that. It's just clear,
Right.
it's direct.
Just
The
another
only
behavior
consequence is
switch.
probably
Right.
natural and that he's not getting his need met. But
Right.
I think that's something that you get to. I'm not sure with this kid though, he needs something really specific right in that moment.
Right.
So
Right.
I think it's, you're upset with her about boom,
Right.
and you're telling her by saying, and you're saying.
I think that might bring him to that self-awareness place that he's not there at.
Yeah, he doesn't have the self-awareness. So that's kind of empathy. You're actually kind of giving him empathy, but then you're quickly giving him a personal, I'd say it's a personal message. When you're upset, I want to, no, you don't want too many words then. I think you just tell him what you want to do, what you would
I
expect.
need help. I like that. I need help.
Yeah, I mean, you could, you know what? You might give a consequence to that. It's not a consequence on the emotion, it's a consequence on the behavior. The behavior is slightly destructive because
It
it
impacts them.
scares other kids.
Right, it impacts them
It
socially,
scares other
absolutely.
kids, and that would be a reason that you'd want to put a limit on that grunting. And that way, saying what you expect him to do, and then we'll talk about the consequence of that. It's really interesting. We'll all think about it. Last but
But I
not
think
least,
sometimes they want to scare the other kids, because we used to have kids that were war, and they got
well,
frustrated.
right, yeah.
It's a trend.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't know that he wants to scare him. I think he wants to feel
No, he's
safe.
not even looking at that. He's moved on and is leaving the room and is about to grunt and start throwing things. I mean,
No,
like,
he's frustrated.
when
He's
we
just
know we're there,
expressing
we
it.
know we're
Okay.
going.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, the one I had was like today, which I think this fits in.
Ladies, I can't hear.
You're screaming again, and you're screaming again. I want you to stop screaming and use your words.
Okay, tell me what the condition is, though. What's
They were
going on?
playing, and someone took something that he thought was his. So they were all sharing, but he had his eye, but he wasn't looking when it was taken. So he saw it missing and he starts screaming.
I mean, the question is screaming that, back to your point, I think you're putting a limit. I think you run the risk of putting a consequence on something that actually screaming when you're upset, I don't have a problem. What are they supposed to do when they're upset? It's not a physical safety thing. Unless he's screaming a bad name or he's hitting. I think there's a problem, and that's that he can't manage his emotions when something gets taken and he doesn't have a way to get it back. I think that might be a goal-setting thing you do, unless he's throwing or doing something like that. I think it's more of your own personal message that it's incredibly frustrating to try and help and have him screaming in your face. You want to help, but it's so hard to hear when he's with all the screaming.
Yeah.
I think it's a personal
Oh, it's
message.
annoying.
I don't think that's an inductive discipline thing.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to hear Allison's
Yes.
response? Effective. You were so nervous and now you see it wasn't so bad. I'm so glad for you that it's over. Ineffective. You are so nervous you just don't know what to do. Response was, stop using empathy on me, it's annoying.
Wait, what was effective? That when
Effective was, you were so nervous and now you see it wasn't so bad. I'm so glad for you that it's over.
Oh, that is.
Wow,
good.
that was really
good.
That was good, Allison.
She
Tell her.
That was good, Allison. So she didn't. Wait, she
And
didn't.
then she wrote, is the video camera on?
All right, consequences. You have your hand up, I think.
So I was gonna say that I feel back to like the whole stressful feelings. I feel like it's what makes the mental states authenticity feel real. Because have you ever noticed how many people something happens and you're like, that's what causes depression because you feel like society tells you that you can't show it.
Yeah.
And if you're not, if he's screaming, okay, take a step back and
How
say,
often do we say it's okay to be mad, but you can't But what the heck are they supposed to do? My son said this to me, like, what am I supposed to do?
What if
You can't scream.
it's in the
It's
middle?
okay to scream. You can scream, I am so mad at you.
Right.
Gotta give him something.
If the child wants to scream to let out the emotion, can you be like, for the positive expectation, using indoor voices, if you feel the need to scream, let me know and we can go outside
Yeah,
so you
the
can let
only,
it out.
yeah,
Or
right.
something like that, so that way the child can just let out the emotion. Because if you tell them to
Maybe,
stop,
but I don't think the
it's like
goal
telling
is to
a
just
child,
emote. I
"Don't
think it's to
cry."
fix the problem. The goal isn't to emote, I think it's to fix the problem. With that case, I think you need to help the kid fix that problem. The screaming hurts her ears. That's a totally different problem. That's a different problem. It's not that the kid just needs to run outside and scream and then just live without ever having problem solved and just don't scream about it.
But you
It's
can-
very different.
You can disarm how quickly that stops by your reaction.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm trying to say. As soon as they feel heard, it will stop.
Yeah.
Rather than saying, don't, that's not gonna do anything, it's only irritating them more.
Just get done and understand.
Yeah.
Consequences. All right, so I'm going to give you some tips on consequences. I think that with a lot of these examples, they really do need a consequence for them to even hear the first two things you say. Sometimes it's like, usually the rule is if this is really effective 3 times, if you're doing it more than 3 times, then go back to figure out how to get their goal met at the same time. So, appropriate consequences. Choose appropriate consequences, meaning effective. That should really say choose effective consequences. So, effective consequences are adequate in strength but not excessive. So, adequate meaning it's whatever is strong enough to get the behavior to stop, but not so strong that it leaves the child feeling like you've betrayed something in the relationship. It's relevant, it's based on a clear understanding of the basis of the misbehavior. See, so trying to put a consequence on him for screaming, I think it's a personal message. Timely, it occurs, as soon after you're thinking, all right, what's the consequence that's gonna happen so soon that it's right on their minds? Like, the idea of then you're not gonna have a pizza party at the end of the week, or you are gonna have a pizza party at the end of the week. It's too far away, or even at the end of the day. So with a child or any adult who's dealing with impulse things, you want it to happen with whatever's gonna happen next, so it's right there, because you're trying to change their response.
But you're not trying to teach them self-control?
That's, to teach it, they have to do it. They have to exercise it. So you're almost helping them by setting it up so they control themselves. But if the consequence is way in another day or something, if they have no impulse control, they can't think ahead and they won't be able to control themselves, and you've just actually decreased their self-control.
Yeah.
It's enforceable. It's something you can enforce consistently. So just briefly, 3 categories of consequences, just to get you thinking of different types. One is not really better than the other. The idea is that it's effective. So natural consequences, teach a child a lesson without your having to get involved. Now, ideally, the consequences we don't want, the more external the consequence, the less likely. The idea is that if you're not there to enforce it, or that it's like a natural consequence. A natural consequence used to be like that was the best, because you get taken out of the equation. But it's not necessarily so. Like a natural consequence might be that if the child is too rough, the kid doesn't want to play. But sometimes that doesn't teach them not to keep doing it. So you're going to want to pick something else, like a consequence that has a direct connection with the broken limit. So the logical consequence to that would be that he has to go sit someplace else or separate because the other child doesn't want to do it. Or logical would be the child tracks in mud, they have to clean it up. Unrelated, let's say none of these you can come up with one that's going to work or get them to stop. It's unrelated, so that would be we were supposed to watch a show together right after this, and now we're not. Not really related. But this is all you can come up with.
sometimes it's all that you think will motivate them, which is the hard part.
Yes, it is. I mean, ideally, the inductive piece is that later they recognize why you did it. That's the idea, that it makes sense to them. Like, to protect this kid, of course I did it like that. Like, it's not about a power thing, it makes sense. So, it's 4 types of consequences that I think, you know, when I work with teachers, and teachers sometimes in really, really tough school systems, the kids don't care about a lot of the consequences. There's nothing that you could do. I mean, or that you can't even implement half of them. So, A, you have to be very creative, and B, you have to build a relationship up to a place where they actually care about some of the consequences. So here's 4 that I just thought I'd go over. Activity, they can't play with the blocks today. Interaction, so this isn't power, love, withdrawal. This is very different. Interaction, withdrawal of access to another child, withdrawal of access to an adult. It's not saying, I'm gonna shun you. It's basically removing yourself from a situation that isn't safe. And that's a really powerful one. So, like, stopping, don't talk. So if you're in, like, teenagers, you know, I hear so many parents, like, just with the talking and the fat talking, and by not talking anymore, you're basically saying, I'm not willing to participate in this type of dynamic anymore. And you can't explain it, you just do it. You just don't. And you're really giving them the ability to do the same themselves if they have a relationship like that. So I think sometimes parents of teens often threaten, like, I'm going to take away your phone, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And sometimes it's just no longer engaging in that dynamic. It's not love withdrawal, like trying to show them you don't like them. It's very different. Privilege, the use of a special object or access places of interest, or cooperation. You're just not going to help them. So what I thought we would do now is take the same example that you used and see if you can come up with a consequence that, and we'll time, what time is it again?
It's 5:05. I mean,
It's 5:05.
it's 6:30.
Let's pick this up next week because it's the last class and it's a little shorter, and now we'll add that on the whole thing. Let me go over the so follow-up assignments that Allison will send you. There's chapter in brown and a chapter in green. And then an article that I'm going to send you on, like, points and levels and rewards and consequences. It's a little thick, it's a little dense. A green really goes over this a lot. But in case you're interested in some of the research on the use of, like, points and levels, I'm not sure in a preschool setting you use a lot of this. So at your discretion, whether or not you want to read it. The green has a section on consequences, rewards, and consequences, and that's really what this is about. Then, lastly, it's such a powerful movie that really, I think, demonstrates the use of this whole approach in a movie about a cowboy who trains horses. And he doesn't train the horses, he trains their owners. It really does parallel. And when you watch this, it's of the real horse whisperer, you know, the movie that was about him. It's actually the real guy. And, what'd you say?
I met him.
You did? Buck Brannahan?
So our daughter rides. An
Ah.
avid rider, and he came to a tournament she was playing in. Yeah, amazing.
Please see this, because so it really turns the whole idea of discipline upside down. So he takes, you know, if the argument would be like, I get a lot of times, you don't understand, this kid is so defiant and willful and dangerous. He takes wild horses and trains them using an approach that is almost identical. It's all based on trust. And so, you know, and you watch his inductive discipline is very similar. It's just, it's not a real strong consequence. He guides them, but the first thing is trust. And he trains the owners. He talks about how, like, basically the horses are a reflection of us. And so I have 3 copies on DVD. It's on Netflix. I don't know what it is, $3.99, $5.99. You know, splurge. It's on Netflix, but I have 3 copies.
I never.
Oh, it's free. There you go.
And you have Netflix.
It's free. There you go. It's Buck. It's right there. It's Buck is the movie, and then here's 3. If you have a DVD player, I don't even have one anymore. And then we'll talk about it.
And there's also a TV show, which I have a horseback rider too, my daughter, and we watch Heartland, which is a TV series on Netflix,
Yeah.
which is a version of a horse whisperer. And it's first of all, I'm completely addicted to it. I watch it all the time.
Do you know what's so funny?
Well, there's 10 seasons of it, and every single show has a horse with a past, and it's figure out what's wrong, and it's all.
I love it.
First of all,
Oh my gosh.
she'll go crazy. My daughter's almost 13 also. She'll go crazy over it.
So
I watch it in my bed. I binge watch it. It's on a ranch.
It's so cute.
I'm sorry.
It's a horse show drama.
No, I was just saying, I took all the.
She does that to me. She makes me watch one, and then that's it. I'm done. I'm going tonight because they've been so good to her. Camp Bootalk where she rides, and they asked me to be on a committee. So I'm like, okay, you know.
So you're going in tomorrow, the last day of camp?
Yeah.
You should definitely talk to the people who feed them. Because I went to Alex Summerfield today, she's not getting any better.
Oh, really?
Definitely still have that.
Oh, those two?
Somebody
They're not
turn the
gonna be
video
that.
camera off.
Oh.
I don't know how to do this.
Oh, hi.
Press stop. Yeah. Oh, here we go. Power off.
Yeah, I binge watch
Still
it.
recording.
I'm a
That's still
13-year-old
recording.
girl. I watch it like I'm a 13-year-old.
We're gonna